Great, Jeremy Hamburgh. Welcome to Autism Spa. It's a real pleasure to have you here. You're with mybestsociallife.com. You're an expert and coach in helping autism adults maintain relationships, friendships. That is such an important field. I feel a lot of people don't understand autism in general. Add to it, relationships are tough under the best of circumstances. When you add to it autism, it's even just an impossible thing to maintain, to be healthy. So I really want to understand what you do, how you coach caregivers, autistic individuals, partners, peers, friends in this very, very important field, and how we can participate and really plug in to what you do.
So, yeah. When people come to My Best Social Life, when they come to me, they are generally pretty lonely, right? They don't have the friendships that they want. They certainly don't have the girlfriend or boyfriend that they want. Oftentimes they're spending a lot of time alone at home or just spending time with their parents. And they want to live a more independent life and a more connected life and a more social life. But they don't know how to do it. And what I hear, every day during the strategy sessions that I do with autistic people and their families is that they don't know where to go to find friends. They don't know where to go to find a potential partner. If they went there, they wouldn't really have the confidence to walk up to new people and start a conversation. And they wouldn't really know what to do in a conversation to get it from where they are now to where they want to be. So that's what we help people with. We help people with the confidence to be their best self. We help them find their autism superpower. And then we give them a step-by-step strategy about how to find the places where their tribe is hanging out and how to go to those places with confidence and meet new people and bring them into their life and then keep them there. Wow. Because that's the other half of the battle. And it's something that we do with an incredible amount of love and compassion. And I truly think about how to help adults on the autism spectrum connect with each other and with others from the minute I get up to the minute I go to bed.
Right. How did you end up in this? How did this rise to the level of, I want to spend my life doing this, out of all the other things you could be doing?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because, I was a lawyer. I was a criminal prosecutor in New York City for 7 years. I spent 7 years as an in-house counsel at JP Morgan Chase Bank. And now I'm a full-time autism friendship and dating coach, and it's kind of been a really crazy ride. But like many things in life, it's just a product of happenstance. Right. I was invited into the autism community, and the story goes back about 15 years. I had started a young professionals organization on the Upper West Side of Manhattan in New York City, where I was living, and the organization really quickly grew to like 1,300 people or something like that. And we would throw Friday night dinner or a Saturday event, and 200 people would come. And I thought that they were just there to, mix and mingle and maybe network, right? Because we were all in our 20s and 30s. But no, everyone was single. Everyone wanted to find a date. And what I noticed was that people just weren't good at it. They weren't connecting with each other. I mean, you have 200 single people in a room, and they were just awful at like meeting each other. And we're not, and a lot of most of these people are neurotypical, right?
Right.
So I was on the Staten Island ferry with a bunch of friends, and they said, how do we walk into one of our events and walk out with a date? And I was like, I don't know, why are you asking me? And they're like, well, you do it all the time. You walk in by yourself and you walk out with new people. What are you doing? And I said, I'm gonna have to think about that.
Yeah. And
so I spent really about 3 years learning the science of what makes people drawn to each other. And what I found was that the science kind of matches up with what I already did as a prosecutor. Right? When you think about a prosecutor, when you think about, Sam Waterston on Law and Order, you think about someone who tells a good story, projects confidence, asks good questions, and is a good listener. Well, I mean, what's conversation and making friends and dating if not those four things, right? asking questions, listening, projecting confidence, telling a good story. So I sort of integrated my trial training with the science that I was learning. And then I went to the local JCC in Manhattan and I said, hey, let me do a program. And they said, yeah, sure, as long as we don't have to pay you. And I was like, cool, okay, don't pay me. But what was happening was that all these people with special needs were coming to these workshops that I was doing. And the reason why, and I didn't know it, was that the JCC had 3 special needs organizations under its roof, including the Silver Center for Special Needs, which has a really, really amazing program called Adaptations. And so I was asked by each of these organizations to tailor my program for people with special needs, particularly autism, and I did. And the one that sort of sticks out in my mind is the Adaptations one, because I didn't know very much about autism, 13 years ago. I have a profoundly autistic cousin, but I didn't know very much about autism back then. And so I'm doing this workshop on how to get started dating. And, one guy is like looking at his cell phone and one woman is facing away from me. And, and I went up to the director of Adaptations at the time, Alison Kleiman, and I said, wow, this was a failure. And she was like, why? And I was like, no one was paying attention to me. And she said, Jeremy, you're used to, grand juries or trial juries like looking at you when you're giving your speeches. She said, autism is different. People on the spectrum concentrate differently and they loved you. And like my mind just exploded. I was like, what? Like, that's crazy. And so what I saw was this group of people who just, they wanted to connect with each other so badly. They wanted everything that anyone else in the world wants. They want friendships, they want dates, they want a girlfriend, they want to get married, but no one had a scalable way to teach them that. And I just had this realization that, like, if anyone is going to be tenacious enough to find an answer to the loneliness problem and the social skills gap in the autism community, it's going to be me. And I have literally spent just about every waking moment for the last 12 or 13 years just fine-tuning my strategy for how to help people on the spectrum live a more connected life. And I sort of give an overview of that to any autism parent or any autistic young adult who wants it on my website. As you said, mybestsociallife.com. There's a free training for parents and a free training for young adults. And we just sort of walk through what are the 5 steps at a high level overview for solving the problem so that you can start connecting with people and stop sitting at home by yourself, feeling bad about yourself. Wow. So that's been the journey.
So you kind of, like you said, you kind of fumbled into this from a totally different field. It's not like you grew up in psychology or your child is autistic. Most of the people that I find in my network have a very, very direct and personal connection to autism. And they end up creating foundations or different therapies or inventing things and that stuff. But here you are, you got roped into this however which way, which, probably many of the lessons you have could apply to any neurotypical, relationship building. I think that could easily be a model you can take and put anywhere for a young adult who might feel a little awkward or intimidated in social situations. And you add to it when you're on the spectrum, depending on where you are on the spectrum, you could have severe social anxieties to, barely noticeable. And especially when we talk about adults, another recurring theme that I see is that many adults, if they were not diagnosed early, they don't know they're on the spectrum. They don't know that they have, special needs, or their partners don't know. They just feel, that's just Bob. He tunes out, or he doesn't care, or he doesn't really recognize a lot of your, your expressions or your feelings. I think even Chris Rock was maybe diagnosed being on the spectrum, not recognizing nonverbal cues. So how do you then take all of that, which is incredibly challenging on its own, and begin to apply? I think I saw the 5 steps. How do you actually apply those 5 steps to making a difference? And do people hire you? Do they, you said clients, do they come to you and say, here, I need to hire you to help me relate?
Yeah. So, what's really interesting is that we get people who come to us in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s
Right.
who just got diagnosed
Yeah.
like a few months ago. And they're like, hey, I just got diagnosed with autism. Now I understand, why I'm struggling. I have a framework to understand why my socializing has been a struggle, why dating has been a struggle. And now that I have this understanding and this framework of the fact that my brain is different, can you help me? And so, what my co-coach Alana and I do with every autistic person in every autism family is we give everybody 60 or 90 minutes of our time at no cost, because we really want to deeply understand, what do you want your friendships to be, what do you want your relationships to be, what do you want your social life to be. We really want to understand, like, what's that goal. And then we really want to be able to give people some real crystal clarity about what's been going wrong, right? You can say, oh, I'm struggling because of autism, but it's not the autism itself that's the struggle, right? Autism causes struggles, whether it's that anxiety of walking up to someone, whether it's that fear of rejection, whether it's that not knowing what to say or what to do, whether it's not knowing how to read the body language and the social cues, right? The autism causes something that makes socializing difficult. And so what Alana and I do in these free strategy sessions is we really drill down deep into what are the things about autism that are making socializing difficult for you. And then, at the end of our time together, we lay out sort of a, 4 or 5 point roadmap for how to get from where you are now to where you want to be. And, there are going to be people for whom we are a good match to work with. There are going to be people for whom there's just a different resource out there that's better than us. And so, we run a small community called Social Life 360. It's an intensive program for people and their families who really want to build friendships and have relationships and start dating. And so for those people who want to work with us and who we really feel like we can make a difference in their life, we'll have that conversation about what the Social Life 360 program is and what an intensive approach can do for them. And for those people whom we're not the best resource, we'll try our best to direct you to someone who is.
So you're not a matchmaker.
I'm not a matchmaker.
Right. You don't, oh yeah, I know Bob and Mary, you guys should, get together. You're helping and training. You're kind of like, I want to say, like Hitch.
My first company was called Hitchcraft.
Yeah, there we go.
My first company was called Hitchcraft.
Right.
But what's really interesting is that we do something for our coaching clients that we don't see anywhere else, which is that we give them a community. Right. And so they keep each other company during the day. They talk about anime, they talk about movies, they talk about music, whatever, right? So they never have this feeling of loneliness. But what ends up happening is that they start meeting each other. And so, 2 of my Indiana families went out for dinner with each other. 2 of my Pennsylvania, New Jersey families, like they met up once and they liked each other so much that they met up again. 2 of my New York-based clients, connected and like went on a date with each other. And so, when you have people who are all on the same journey and moving in the same direction, it just creates a bond that, although it's not matchmaking,
right?
They do tend to match with each other in making friends, and some of them,
right? As I'm listening to you, I could see how gratifying it is to do this.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right? Isn't it cool?
It's amazing.
I just feel like, kind of how empowering and how wonderful to bring people together, to bring them out of their loneliness. These are, what do we call them, special needs or neurodiverse or autistic or on the spectrum. Mental health and loneliness is a national, epidemic. Whatever the label is, it could lead to a lot of different difficulties in life for a lifetime. And young adults especially, to have this little help, someone in their corner to give them just the basic tips. It's not like you're holding their hand on the date for the next 5 years. It's just a little bit of confidence, a little bit of steps, a little bit of tools, a little bit of adjustment in the beginning so they can tap into their own potential, it sounds like, because ultimately they have to be the ones in that relationship.
Yeah, ultimately, look, they're the ones who have to do the work and put in the effort. And I always tell my clients, like one of our clients landed his first date in years on last Sunday. And he's like, thank you for making this possible. And I said, no, you did the work.
Yeah.
Right. But holding hands actually, yeah, we don't hold your hand on the date.
Right.
But, for those people who work with us in Social Life 360, we really do hold your hand from the moment that you join us.
Right.
And we do a little bit of work every day. We put in a little bit of effort every day to build those skills little by little so that you can go out into the social world and start making friends and start landing dates and start having these relationships.
Right.
And what happens is incredible. So true story, yesterday morning at 7:30, because I'm here in California, at 7:30, I see a number that I don't know. And I'm like, it's a New York number. So I pick it up because I'm from New York. And it's a dad. It's one of the dads of one of my clients. And he says, I just wanted to pick up the phone to thank you because, our son has been so reliant on my wife and I for everything in life. And, he has, over the last few weeks in the program, started, going out into the real world and making friends. He's doing better at his job. He's becoming a point person at his organization for autism inclusion issues. And he's like, I just want to thank you guys. And I said, you're welcome. But at the end of the day, he's just taking the strategy that we give him and the support that we give him, and he's doing it himself.
Wow.
Right? He's doing the work. We're just empowering him.
Right.
We're giving him a community so he feels full. We're giving him, access to us so that he feels supported. And we're giving him a strategy that works amazingly. But at the end of the day, he's the one putting in the effort each and every day.
Right.
A little bit to build that foundation. And that's what
which teaching a man how to fish is the way to do it, right?
Exactly.
So or a woman. So this is amazing. As a parent, I can tell you, every parent worries about their special needs autistic son or daughter. What happens after I'm gone? Right?
Every day I hear that.
I know it's just the way it is. So to know that in this case there is someone that can coach them a little bit to build relationships. There'll be someone to love them or care for them, or at least they'll have the skills to navigate the very, very intensely complicated world of relationships and feelings. Is very, very, I think, gratifying as a parent. Like you said, if I was a dad, I would call you and say, hey, thanks. I will say that another kind of side of this conversation is not just interpersonal relationships, but work friendships. A lot of companies that I interact with are developing neurodiversity groups, centers, support groups. It's important to have personal relationships, but you should also be able to manage work relationships. And that work should be sensitive to your journey.
Absolutely.
Right. So have you seen any professional interactions kind of evolve from what you're doing?
Yeah. So I was just talking about, that dad who gave me a call yesterday morning, and his son works at a very well-renowned school. And one thing that I encourage my clients to do is, learn how to socialize in the places that they already are. So he did, and it sort of came to the attention of his administration what he was doing, and they invited him in for a meeting to learn more about autism and more about autism inclusion. And something that was really cool is that they actually put in the library. They put a display in sort of the middle of the library for autism inclusion, and they let my client sort of curate what the offering would be in that display. And so, there's this guy now who used to just work at this school, and now he's really this point person for autism inclusiveness. And I think that's wonderful because it opens doors for our clients to be able to have conversations with more people at the workplace on their own territory, right? About things that they're passionate about, And it's really amazing. And so, one thing I've learned being a coach is if you learn a skill in one aspect of your life, you can't just compartmentalize it.
Right.
It's just not possible. If you learn how to be a better partner, romantic partner, you're also going to learn how to be a better friend. Right. You're also going to learn how to be a better coworker. You're also going to learn how to be a better employee. You're also going to learn how to be a better interviewer.
Right. Social
skills are not just, it's not just dating skills and friendship skills and interview skills, and they're all the same.
Right.
It's two sides of the same coin. If you succeed in building a social life, you are going to succeed in all aspects of your life.
Right. Well, I couldn't agree more, and I'm so glad that there is someone like you out there. I think we need 1,000 more, and all the thousands of you will still be busy.
Yeah,
because I don't feel this is a field that's going to shrink or contract over time. It's only going to grow as relationships continue to be complex, work environments continue to evolve. So those socialization skills for our loved ones, are really, really essential. So I'm really glad we had this time to talk. The website, you can tell us more about the website and how they can interact with you before we sign off.
Yeah, the website's really cool. I try to keep it very simple, and because I want it to be really friendly to people with autism. And so mybestsociallife.com is the web address. And you can learn about what we do and what our approach is and why it's successful. And most importantly, you can access the free training. As I said, we have a free training for singles on the spectrum. We have a free training for parents. Parents tell me it's literally like eye-opening and inspiring, and they're really good trainings. They're only about 30, 35 minutes long. And at the end of the training, if you have a desire to get together with Alana and me and, talk about what your goals are and what's been going wrong, or what the goals are for your young adult, and where the sticking points have been and what the roadmap looks for solving it. As I said, we'll do a free strategy session with any autism family that wants it. And if someone wants to just do that directly and bypass the training, it's mybestsociallife.com/apply for the parents. So mybestsociallife.com/apply. And for the singles, it's mybestsociallife.com/free session. But we love getting on the phone with families and just giving them clarity about what's been going wrong and what the road ahead, looks like, and how to tackle it. And it's a gift from us to the autism community, and it's one that we love doing.
Wow. I love it. Well, God bless you, Jeremy Hamburgh, for all that you're doing. It's wonderful. We're going to go to the website. We're going to check it out. We're going to be in touch. And I just deeply, as a dad, really appreciate you for what you're doing, and your partner, Alon, for all this amazing work. So thank you.
Thanks for having us, or thanks for having me. This was amazing. All the very best.